Welcome to ChemOrbis. In this session, we will cover the Euro market update for PS. We will start talking about the general outlook of the market, the situation of the supply-demand. We'll talk in detail about prices, both local and in global markets, and have a look at the margin side of the story, as well as comparing prices in China versus Northwest Europe. For the general outlook, I will use the latest weekly analysis report that is published on ChemOrbis. So let's click on it. In the first few lines of the analysis, you can see what's happening in the market. We can read together. PS hikes pass as buyers plan to cover their needs in Europe. And basically up to 15 euro per ton were passing as increases since the end of May. The overall ranges are reported in June this week at 1350, 1440 euro per ton for GPPS and 1450, 1540 for HIPS, both free delivered. Scrolling down further in the report, we can see that the demand picked up in June, particularly for the high season for some applications, and because all buyers were keeping very low storage. For what will happen in July, there are different opinions. Some players think that the prices may stabilize because looking particularly at China is strengthening in the Far East, but looking at Europe, for example, a problem at the Trinseo styrene unit in Germany didn't cause many issues. So the overall evaluation is for price stability for July for now, or further increases. Using the Price Wizard tool, I have made a chart showing both GPPS and HIPS prices in Europe for the last 52 weeks, being current week, the last price data that we report. So you can see that in 2016 there was a very soft trend, and then increases started before the year end, and the maximum was touched at the beginning of March. And then decreases were very sharp, even sharper than the increases. Eventually, you can see that the bottom was touched at the end of May. Actually, at the end of May, there was already some market recovery. To look at the global markets, we can use another analytical tool called Product Snapshot. The result of the tool is a table with feedstock, monomers, and polymer prices of the current week, all in euro per ton. The change in percentage terms versus the previous week, and you can see that there is a decrease on crude oil and naphtha, whereas benzene and styrene are instead increasing. You have the column with the 52 weeks heat price history. You have the difference, which is the price volatility during this time frame, and where the price of the week falls within this range of volatility. So if it is to the left-hand side, you will see that we are close to the minimum. If it is on the right-hand side, we are close to the maximum. Down in the table, you can see the polymer price that we report in all the regions that we cover, and you can see the absolute value and the change versus the previous weeks and the history. And you can see there is a dominance of stability or increases more or less everywhere. In China, there is a little bit of decreases still, so it's interesting to see what will happen, particularly to the polymer price, but moreover to the styrene price that will be driving the trends in the short term. Looking at the margin side, I did a graph again using Price Wizard, plotting the styrene price in yellow with the GPPS price in Northwest Europe. You can see that the margin were quite compressed at the beginning of the year. Therefore, the sudden need for increases by the producers, and now the prices of styrene are following a downward trend, and the polymer prices are decreasing, but not as fast as. In fact, the styrene prices started to recover already in beginning of May, whereas we can see only at the end of May, between end of May and the beginning of June, the recovery of the polymer. you can also show the difference between the two series of data, and you can see that margins were quite compressed around this period here between February and March, and then are again on a healthy side in this period. This is another chart created with Price Wizard comparing GPPS price in the local market in China, the yellow line, with the blue line of the polymer price in Northwest Europe. Why do we make this comparison? It's because what happens in China usually tends to happen after a few weeks delay in our market. So what happens there is strongly influencing what's happened here. And we can see that the decrease was starting in mid of February in China, whereas it took another month before it happened in Europe. Now, in China, it started to recover already in the middle of May, the price of the polymer, but now is again softening. So we don't know really what's is going to happen in the coming weeks. And if the prices are turning down in Asia, definitely it will lack the support for increasing further in Europe. Whereas if they increase in China, then also in Europe the increases will hold. So it's really open to see what's will be happening in July. So with this, I have finished my introduction to this quickly tour of the PS markets. If you have questions, please do ask. And indeed, if you are interested to test our services, ask me or ask your sales representative at ChemOrbis. Thank you for your attention.